What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten channel. We're going to preview the 2024 schedule for the Oregon Ducks. Before we get to 2024, let's look back at 2023. Here was the schedule from last season for Oregon. You can see a 12-2 record. The only team that beat them was Washington, beat them twice. But you look at this schedule, they played Portland State, Texas Tech, and Hawaii in the non-conference. So, you know, they did go out and play Texas Tech on the road. That wound up being a pretty tough game for them. Again, totally different schedule this year as we head into the Big Ten, and this is that schedule. Before we go game by game, let's look at who they play first in the non-conference. Idaho, Boise State, Oregon State. They will play Oregon State on the road. So glad that rivalry can continue. We can still see Oregon State. Doesn't have to be at the end of the year. It's not really that big of a deal. You know, plenty of rivalries, big-time rivalries are played earlier in the season. You've got Florida, Georgia. You've got Oklahoma, Texas. You know, you've got a lot of these rivalries, Iowa State, that are played earlier in the season. So I don't mind that at all. I love to see that rivalry continue there. And again, Boise State, good team out of the group of five. Plus you're playing, I don't even know what to call Oregon State. I mean, they're not really a Power 5 team anymore. But yeah, still a challenging game there, I'm sure, in a rivalry. So a pretty good non-conference schedule there. You look at their home schedule: Idaho, Boise State, Michigan State, Ohio State, Illinois, Maryland, and Washington. So they get 5 conference games at home. That means only 4 on the road. That's good news there for the Ducks. And again, Ohio State's at home, Washington's at home. So some of these big games are going to be at home. You look at the road schedule. Again, we talked about Oregon State. They'll also play UCLA, Purdue, Michigan, and Wisconsin on the road. You know, that's not too tough. You know, this is a year that Michigan might be vulnerable with all the changes they're going through. So maybe Oregon's able to go on the road and win that game. And then again, UCLA, Purdue, Wisconsin, all winnable games if Oregon is as good as we think they're going to be. So not a terrible road schedule there. And that means that, you know, there's a chance that this team could possibly even run the table and go undefeated. But they'll open up with Idaho on August the 31st at home. Nice way to start off the season. Then September 7th, you play Boise State at home. And then it's Oregon State on the road on the 14th, and they'll get a very early bye week. So their bye weeks are really weird. They get one in week 4, and then they get another one the next to the last week of the season. So they have a really early bye week and a really late bye week, which is interesting. But again, Oregon State on the road, then a bye week, then they go into Big Ten Conference play. They will begin Big Ten Conference play with a team that was in the Pac-12, UCLA. They'll go on the road and play UCLA, and then it's Michigan State on October the 5th at home. Ohio State after that on the 12th. So that's going to be, you know, I really feel like Ohio State and Oregon right now are probably 2 of the top 3 teams in the country, along with Georgia. And there's a really good chance we see them play twice. But that's going to be a monumental game there. Huge game on October the 12th. Can't wait to see that one. Then they'll play Purdue on the road on October the 19th. Then it's Illinois on the 26th at home. Then they'll go on the road to play Michigan on the 2nd of November. Then it's Maryland at home on the 9th. And then they get Wisconsin on the road again on the 16th. But then there's that bye week before Washington. Just a really weird spot for that bye week. Yeah, they get Washington at home to close out the season. So you look at the schedule, you know, no back-to-back road games. Yes, you've got Oregon State, UCLA, but there's a bye week in between those two. You look at tough stretches. They really don't have a tough stretch. I mean, the Big Ten did a really good job of balancing these schedules. So from what I've seen so far, no one really has a tough, like, 3-game stretch. And I haven't even seen any real tough back-to-backs. I'm sure there will be some as we get to go through and get through all these schedules. But yeah, what's the toughest stretch here? You know, I don't know. There's really not one. If you count the bye, you look at the bye weeks before Washington and Oregon State. You know, you've got Michigan State, Ohio State, at Purdue. I mean, that's not a very tough stretch. This is a really manageable schedule for Oregon. Things, I think, really set up well for them in their first year in the Big Ten.